What was it like going to lift yesterday at 6 a.m. and it was snowing?
I actually did not have lift at 6 a.m. yesterday, but I'm from California and that was my first time driving in the snow, like ever, yesterday. Scraping the snow off my windshield. Yeah.
What was the off season like? It's a long off season. How do you stay motivated and stay really pushing through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's tricky with this sport during off season just because a lot of it is obviously team based, like Lexi said. But I think just putting in like the work that you can do yourself to help better yourself for the incoming season, that's like the best thing you can do. So a lot of like the lifts that we get over the summer and over our breaks on our app, just doing those like as consistent as you can. And also just like going back to your home gym, I feel like can help like bring inspiration and like, I don't know, be like you kind of like remember where you started sort of thing. So I feel like coming back from break, I always feel more fueled to excel. Yeah.
Coach talked about, you guys working on some new things. Just from an athlete's perspective, what's the excitement level when you've got something new that you're working on and debuting? I'm sure there's probably some nerves, like, hey, let's make sure we nail this, but also not getting too far away from your fundamentals too, because obviously I'm sure there's certain things you feel like, hey, this is our bedrock, this is who we are, so we want to make sure this is nails as well. Just what are all the right balances there?
I think it's always exciting to be working on new skills, and this year in particular, we have like a lot of new things competing. And I feel like it like building that confidence is obviously very important, and that's something that will get done with this first meet and the next meets to come. But knowing that we have that foundation of those other skills like to fall back on and like remembering like technique from those and being able to pull it into our newer skills is always helpful, and I feel like helps bring the confidence.
I want to ask you that leadership question too. You've been here for a while and you kind of know how this sport works. So how do you, bring these freshmen into this new fold?
Yeah, for sure. I think every single year I've been here has been like a very different like team dynamic, not necessarily like in any sort of bad way, just like with different seniors, like there's like a different like vibe overall, like the whole team. And I feel like this year, like we've been able to pick up on like a lot of different vibes from past years, and I feel like as seniors, we kind of have been able to curate like a really amazing team culture, which I think is exciting like going into this season, and I feel like it's something like as a senior that I'm pretty proud of. So yeah.
Like describe the vibe in a word. What would it be?
In a word, I don't know. Like together. I don't know.
Nice. Hey, JC, she's new this year. I mean, we've heard lots of amazing stuff. You have anything that you've seen from her in particular?
I just think like a different perspective is always nice and refreshing, and she definitely, like Lexi was saying, like a very decorated athlete, and I feel like she brings a lot more of like a top perspective to our program, which I think is super helpful, especially like with all these new acrobatic gymnastic skills that we've kind of been throwing this year. Like her perspective has been like extremely helpful.
Is that different, like bringing someone who's never been in the program in?
I would say for sure, but I think she just like has a different way of viewing things, which is always like refreshing and different. And like Lexi said, I think she like meshes well with our team.
You're gonna have a crowd on hand, obviously, which is gonna be different than practice. How does that, change things? I mean, probably makes it more fun, exciting in certain ways. I don't know if you feel like it brings pressure. Just what's kind of the performance aspect and how different it'll be, and different things you have to keep in mind when there's a crowd on hand, if anything.
I think the biggest thing is just like that it's a different atmosphere competing with a crowd, and it can get really loud, but also like that's the fun part about it. So I feel like just like being able to like register your emotions in that way and be like, oh, this is a fun thing, people are cheering for me, and coming at it from that perspective is always like it fuels me to do better, but or to like perform to my best ability, which I feel like helps you kind of turn it on more than you would in practice.
You'll hear from athletes across different sports that talk about like, yeah, I don't even notice the crowd. Like, what's that like for you? I mean, are you aware of it? Do you want to be aware of it? Does it sometimes just sort of get blacked out?
I think when I'm on the side, I definitely like am fueled by that energy, but like once I'm on the mat, I I honestly can't ever hear anyone like cheering for me. I'm too like dialed in. But I think like having like the energy from being on the side mats and like being able to experience the crowd and then being able to like lock in on the main mat, like that shift I feel like helps like with your confidence. I don't know if that makes any sense.